All right, let's get right into it. We've all heard the promise, right? AI is going to revolutionize medicine, make it faster, smarter, and way less stressful for doctors. But what if the reality, at least for now, is the exact opposite? What if the very tool designed to save them is actually making their lives harder? That's the crazy paradox we're going to unpack. 3 to 4 seconds. Just think about that. That is all the time a radiologist has to look at a single medical image and make a judgment call. That's the pace they have to keep just to stay afloat. It's completely unsustainable, and it's a huge reason why so many of them are burning out. So, of course, what was supposed to be the solution? AI. It was sold as this incredible technological savior that would slash workloads, boost efficiency, and finally give these doctors a chance to breathe. The idea was never to replace them, but to be their ultimate sidekick. But then the data started rolling in, and it told a totally different story, a really troubling one. The very technology that was supposed to be the cure was looking more and more like it was part of the disease. So the big question is, how is that even possible? Now, this isn't just a feeling. It's not anecdotal. This paradox is backed by some serious science, so let's decode the data and see what it's telling us. The main piece of evidence comes from this massive 2023 study out of China. And when I say massive, I mean it. They surveyed over 6,700 radiologists across more than 1,000 hospitals. They basically split them into two groups, an AI group that used it all the time and a non-AI group that didn't. And the headline finding? It was a real shocker. The group using the AI, the savior tech, they actually reported a higher rate of burnout. We're talking 40.9% compared to just 38.6% in the group not using it. And statistically, that difference is significant. But it gets even wilder. Once the researchers adjusted for all the other factors, things like how heavy their workload was or their age, the connection got even sharper. Get this, frequent AI use was tied to a 20% jump in the odds of a radiologist suffering from burnout. A 20% increase. But here's the part that really makes you go, wait, what? They found a direct dose-response relationship. In plain English, that means the more a radiologist used AI, the higher their risk of burnout was. That is the exact opposite of what you'd expect from a helpful tool, right? It's like taking a pill for a headache that just makes the headache worse the more you take it. It makes no sense. So the numbers are clear, but the big question is why? Why is this happening? Well, it turns out that AI is piling on these invisible pressures, these hidden burdens. Let's break down the three main culprits. First up, something called cognitive load. Think of it as mental strain. Instead of just doing their main job, reading a scan, radiologists now have a second job, babysitting the AI. They have to review its findings, verify them, and correct its mistakes. It's all this hidden work that doesn't show up on a timesheet but adds a ton of mental fatigue. Their role has literally shifted from expert diagnostician to algorithm supervisor. Second, there's a psychological toll. Just imagine hearing day in and day out that a machine is being built to do your job. That creates this constant low-level stress. There's real anxiety there. Plus, the more time you spend interacting with a computer program, the less time you spend collaborating with your human colleagues, which can make you feel pretty isolated. In this third reason, this one is a real jaw-dropper. Researchers have discovered something they're calling the AI penalty. And it's basically a brand new form of medical legal risk. A separate study found that if a doctor disagrees with an AI's finding, and it turns out the AI was right, juries judge that doctor much, much more harshly. Just look at these numbers. In a standard malpractice case with no AI, a mock jury sided with the patient 56% of the time. Okay, but when a doctor overruled an AI and was later proven wrong, whoa, that number jumped to 75%. You can just feel the pressure that creates, right? You're almost being legally pushed to agree with the machine, even when your expert gut is telling you something different. So, okay, case closed, right? AI is bad for doctors, end of story. Well, not so fast. Just when you think you've got this all figured out, the data throws us a major curveball that complicates everything. Check this out. Another study found something that seems to completely contradict what we've just been talking about. See, the first study looked at how often doctors used AI, but this new study looked at how long they'd been using it, months, years, and it found that doctors who were long-term users actually reported less burnout. So what is going on? How can more frequent use be bad, but longer-term use be good? Well, to solve this riddle, experts from the Mayo Clinic proposed a fascinating idea. They suggested we might have the cause and effect totally backward. Maybe it's not that AI causes burnout. What if burnout is what drives doctors to adopt AI in the first place, hoping it'll be their lifeline? And when you put all those puzzle pieces together, a really chilling picture emerges, a vicious cycle. Here's how it might work. Step 1. The most overworked, most burnt out radiologists are the first ones to try AI because they're desperate for relief. Step 2. But the tools they get are clunky, they're not integrated well, and they just add more stress and legal risk. Step 3. So their burnout actually gets worse and their trust in the tech plummets. It's this awful feedback loop where the problem drives people to a solution that just makes the problem worse. Okay, so that sounds pretty bleak, I know. But the good news is, by understanding the problem this deeply, we can actually start to see a path forward. This isn't about ditching AI. It's about fundamentally rethinking how we build and implement it. And a real solution has to happen on 3 different levels, because this is not just a technology problem. At the tech level, designers have to fix the tools to lower that cognitive load. At the organizational level, hospitals need to stop just dropping software on their doctors and start co-designing workflows with them. And at the policy level, medical boards need to create clear guidelines to protect doctors from that scary AI penalty. You need all 3 for this to work. So what does better AI actually look like in practice? It means creating zero-click and ambient tools that just work seamlessly in the background, almost invisibly. It means building smart systems that don't just find spots on a scan, but help manage the whole workflow, automating all the boring reports and paperwork. And critically, it means reducing alert fatigue, all the pop-ups and notifications, by giving insights that are genuinely useful, not just more noise. And all of this really points to a huge shift in our mindset. For so long, the conversation has been about artificial intelligence, this separate thing that might one day take over. But that's the wrong way to look at it. The real goal should be augmented intelligence, a collaborative tool that handles the grunt work, freeing up human experts to focus on what they do best. In the end, it all really boils down to this one simple but powerful question. The challenge isn't just about building AI that can see things in a medical scan. The real challenge, the one that truly matters, is designing technology that also sees, understands, and supports the human being who's using it. That is the only way we get from burnout to a true partnership.